real music and real moments. We are not just a station, we are a movement. High Power One.
Yes, top of the mornings, Nigerians, and welcome to another edition of In the Papers on your darling station, IPA 102.7 FM. The segment where we bring to you major headlines and making rounds in today's newspaper. My name is Florence Ibarima, and with me on the program is
Inioluwa Adekoya.
Yes, I will be taking you through the biggest news and making waves around politics, society, economy, and of course beyond. What the paper is really saying and how the stories affect you and I in everyday life. I would go on a very short break. When we come back, we'll start with the headlines, then continue with the major stories for today. Yes, you can do well to follow us on our social media handle, IPA 1027 FM on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Yes, starting from the Hope newspaper this morning, talking Tantina birthday. Pa Fashion declines excessive celebration, praise for Nigeria.
And now to the Daily Post newspaper, talking Osun State. Police deny alleged attack on Governor Adeleke's son.
Yes, still taking headlines from the Hope newspaper this morning. Presidency, APC marks OB over ADC exit.
Still on the Daily Post newspaper, no Nigerian killed in South African protest. 2 deaths unrelated to unrest, says federal government.
Yes, still taking headlines from the Hope newspaper this morning. Syrup, NGE urges federal government to strengthen press freedom, protect journalists.
Still on the Daily Post newspaper, doctors issue 72-hour ultimatum of a kidnapped colleague in Niger.
Yes, that's away from the Hope newspaper from my end, and now to the Punch. We have Kano reaffirms commitment to press freedom, urges responsible journalism.
85% of attacks on journalists go unpunished, says UN as they raise alarm, and that is coming from the Daily Post newspaper.
And of course, still on the Punch, where we have JAM to decide UTME cut-off mark on May 11.
Still on the Daily Post newspaper, Bender elders seek monarch's intervention over Oji Kalu Rap's deputy speaker's rift.
Still taking headlines from the Punch newspaper this Monday morning, where we have Lagos lawmaker pushes vocational training to tackle youth unemployment.
Still on the Daily Post newspaper, Nigerian consulate warns citizens ahead of South Africa anti-foreigner protest.
Still on the Punch newspaper this morning, where we have Lagos orders school compliance check ahead of resumption.
Still on the Daily Post newspaper, bandits kill 11 in attack on Castina community.
Still taking stories from Lagos, where we have Lagos marks Noise Awareness Day with student debate. And that headline is coming to you from the Punch newspaper this morning.
And now I take a flight to the Tribune newspaper, talking strike. We stand with Sanu Nasu, says ASU.
Yes, away from the Punch and now to the Nations, where we have xenophobia tax. 130 Nigerians apply for evacuation.
Still on the pages of the Tribune newspaper, Nigerians groan as price of cooking gas surges to average 1,400 per kg.
Still on the Nation's newspaper, we have Governor's Way option for state policing financing.
And quickly to the Guardian newspaper, Atiku slams federal government over decline in foreign reserve despite 5 trillion naira oil windfall.
Away from the Nations and now to Vanguard, where we have a talk on a foreign shooting. PSC rectifies dismissal of alleged killer cops and 4 others.
Still on the Guardian newspaper on my end, Tinubu leaves for France, kicks off 3-nation diplomatic tour.
Yes, lastly from the Vanguard, where we have avoid confrontation. Nigerians alert citizens of xenophobic protest in South Africa today.
And lastly on the Guardian newspaper, federal government to evacuate Nigerians in South Africa is 130 register interest.
We would go on a very short break. When we come back, we'll start with the major stories from today's headlines.
Yes, glad to have you back. The program is in the papers, coming to you from the stables of iPower 102.7 FM. Beginning on the list of our news this morning from the
Hope newspaper, talking about Fashion declines excessive celebration, praise for Nigeria. Now the details. The family of Afenifere leader and foremost nationalist Pa Ruben Fashoranti has announced that talking about his birthday celebration reserved for the elder statesman should not exceed the main day, May 11, when he will actually turn 100. Speaking for the family, Pa Fashoranti's eldest daughter, Olori Queen Rachel Olatubosun Fale, said her father has issued a directive based on his dislike for anything excessive. Madam Rachel, incidentally, is the wife of another leading Afenifere leader, Obaolu Falaye, a former presidential candidate and currently the monarch of Iluabo community in Akure, Ondo State. According to her, Papa is full of appreciation to Nigerians for choosing to celebrate his 100th birthday in grand style, but takes exception to doing so excessively. She spoke during a high-profile meeting held at Fashoranti's residence, attended by members of the family and notable associates of the elder statesman. The decision to scale down on the activities lined up for the centenary birthday, according to the family, was based on the directive of the celebrant himself and the need to prevent security breaches, as President Bola Tinubu, alongside other top dignitaries, is expected to attend the private event. For details of that story, see the Hope newspaper with this headline: Pa Fashoranti declines excessive celebrations, praise for Nigeria.
And now to the Daily Post newspaper, talking Osun State. Police deny alleged attack on Governor Adeleke's son. And now to the details. The Osun State Police Command has dismissed reports of an alleged assassination attempt on Adebayo Adeleke, also known as B-Red, son of Governor Ademola Adeleke. The police described the report as false, unverified, and capable of causing unnecessary panic among members of the public. The state government had earlier, in a statement signed by the Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Kolakpe Alimi, announced that B-Red escaped an assassination attempt at Okefia in Oshogbo on Wednesday. However, reacting to inquiries, the police public relations officer, DSP Abiodun Ojelabi, refuted the claim and provided details of the reported incident. The statement reads, and I quote, "The Osun State Police Command wishes to inform the general public of an incident reported on the 30th of April 2026 at about 6:13 hours by Mr. Adebayo David Adeleke." Ojelabi further explained that the complainant reported being followed by a group of individuals on motorcycles while driving along Olaya Alekuwodo area of Oshogbo. According to him, the individuals were allegedly pointing at the vehicle and chanting words suggesting he was the governor's son. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Osun Police deny alleged attack on Governor Adeleke's son.
Yes, talking on Do APC primaries, and this is from the Hope newspaper, where we have former speaker cautions against division set to pally aggrieved contenders. Now the details. Amid activities leading to the Ondo State National and State Assembly primaries in the ruling All Progressive Congress APC, a former Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Jumoke Akindele, has called for mutual understanding and decorum among contenders. She has also opted to meet with all the aggrieved contenders soon to bring about amicable resolution. Akindele, who was Speaker on the 7th and 8th assemblies, and also leading crusader for party cohesion and mobilization in Ondo State, particularly sought cooperation with the leaders of the state government. With the leader of the state governor, Honorable Lucky Ayedatiwa, as a met well for all parties. In a statement issued in Akure on Monday, doubtedly titled, "My fellow APC aspirant, play the big game, not just the ball, and President Tinubu re-election is not negotiable." Akindele emphasized that Governor Ayedatiwa are top plans to ensure that the APC primaries are not indecisive, but ones will also make members a winner in respective dimension. Our intervention came in a wake of some complaints over consensus agreement to candidates at the various local council in the state. For details of that story, see the Hope newspaper with this headline, "Former Speaker cautions against divisions set to pally aggrieved contenders."
Yes, to our callers trying to call us out there, the lines are not yet open. So we will be taking your calls very soon. Just stay tuned on the program. And now quickly to the Daily Post newspaper. No Nigerian killed in South African protest. 2 deaths unrelated to unrest, says federal government. And now to the details. The federal government says no Nigerian was killed and no Nigerian-owned property was destroyed during recent anti-foreigner protest in parts of South Africa. This was disclosed by the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu, in a report shared on her X handle recently. She said the government is monitoring the situation closely after protests in cities such as Pretoria and Johannesburg between the 27th and the 29th of April 2026. According to her, South African authorities described the protest as mostly peaceful, although police used tear gas in some areas. However, she confirmed that 2 Nigerians died in separate incidents not directly linked to the protest. One died after an encounter with soldiers, while another was found dead following an alleged confrontation with Metro Police. She said both deaths are being treated as serious and unacceptable. The Nigerian is working through its Eye Commission to investigate and seek justice. The minister also warned the further protests are expected between the 4th and the 8th of May 2026. She further added that Nigeria has summoned South Africa's IS commissioner and is stepping up diplomatic talks. She also stated about 130 Nigerians have already registered for voluntary evacuation back home. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, "No Nigerian killed in South African protest. 2 deaths unrelated to unrest," says federal government.
Still taking headlines from the Punch newspaper, where we have JAM to decide UTME cut off marks May 11. Now the details. The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board will convene its 2026 policy meeting on admission on Monday, May 11, with crucial decisions including the minimum Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination cut-off mark for 2026-2027 academic session are expected to be determined. This was disclosed in a statement issued on Sunday by the board spokesperson Fabian Benjamin. According to Benjamin, the meeting will take place at the body of Benchers Auditorium, Plot 688, Institute of Research District, FCC Phase 3, Jabi, Abuja. It will bring together key stakeholders in Nigerian tertiary education sector. He noted that major policy directions would be unveiled by the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa. The statement reads, the board annual policy meeting on admission is a crucial annual gathering where stakeholders decide the minimum tolerable UTME marks, admissions guidelines, and policy for tertiary institution. Furthermore, the meeting is expected to, in particularly, formally set the tone for the 2026-2027 admission exercise while impressing on attendees the need to adhere strictly to stipulated guidelines. The board added that goodwill messages are expected from agencies including the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, the National Youth Service Corps, and other stakeholders. Benjamin further disclosed that the event will feature the 6th edition of the National Tertiary Admission Performance Merit Award, aimed at promoting compliance with admission guidelines and improving standards in tertiary education across the country. For details of that story, see the Punch newspaper with this headline: JAM decides UTME cut-off mark on May 11.
Still on the Daily Post newspaper, doctors issue 72-hour ultimatum of a kidnapped colleague in Niger. And now to the details. The Niger State Chapter of the National Association of Government General Medical and Dental Practitioners, NAGGMDP, has issued a 72-hour ultimatum to the state government to secure the release of a kidnapped doctor, warning of a total shutdown of health services if the demand is not met. The association is demanding the immediate rescue of Dr. Tony Egagagara, head of medical services at the New Busa General Hospital in Bogo local government area, who was abducted by bandits at his private clinic in Wawa Town on the 22nd of April 2026. In a communique released after an emergency general meeting jointly signed by Chairman Dr. Mustafa Muhammad Aliyu, the General Secretary Dr. Musa Al-Haji Seishu, the doctors expressed deep concerns over rising insecurity and what they described as a targeted victimization of healthcare workers across the state. The association further warned that failure to secure their colleague within the stipulated time frame would trigger an indefinite withdrawal of several services across all government health centers in Niger State. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Doctors issued 72-hour ultimatum of a kidnapped colleague in Niger.
Still taking headlines from the Punch newspaper, where we have Showore slams police for arresting bloggers over Elumelu divorce report. Now the details. Human rights activist and the former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore has called on the Nigerian police force to release 3 individuals arrested over alleged defamatory reports involving Tony Elumelu, chairman of the United Bank for Africa. In a Facebook post on Monday, Sowore urged the publication argue that the publication claims that a public figure marital status do not constitute any criminal offense warranting arrest or detention. He said, and I quote, we must continue to remind the Nigerian police force that it is not a criminal offense warranting arrest or detention for bloggers to report that at Tony O. Elumelu, chairman of UBA Group, has reportedly divorced his wife, he wrote. At most, such a matter falls within the realm of civil law and does not justify police actions or repression. The Police Nigerian must therefore immediately release Kingsley, Chigozie, and John, he added. Showore's comments followed the statement by UBA dismissing a false and defamatory viral claim alleging that Elumelu had divorced his wife, Awele. In a statement signed by the bank's group head of branch marketing and corporate communication, Alero Ladipo, the institution described the report as fabricated, reckless and malicious, stressing that it was designed to mislead the public and damage reputation. For details of that story, see the Punch newspaper with this headline: Sowore slams police for arresting bloggers over Elumelu's divorce report.
Still taking headlines from the Daily Post newspaper, 85% of attacks on journalists go unpunished. UN raises alarm. And now to the details. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has raised concerns about the high level of impunity surrounding crimes against journalists, stating that about 85% of such cases remain neither investigated nor punished. Guterres made these remarks in a message to commemorate the World Press Freedom Day, an annual event observed on the 3rd of May to emphasize the importance of press freedom and the protection of media professionals worldwide. It described press freedom as a fundamental pillar of democratic societies, emphasizing the role of media as a watchdog that holds power to account. Reflecting on the 1991 Windhoek Declaration, the UN chief noted that the landmark document emphasized the need for independent and pluralistic media, promoting the global recognition of the day to promote and defend press freedom. Guterres warned the press freedom is currently under significant pressure due to a combination of economic challenges, emerging technologies, and deliberate spread of misinformation. He further stated, and I quote, when access to reliable information erodes, mistrust takes root. When public debate is distorted, social cohesion weakens, and when journalism is undermined, crises become far more difficult to prevent and resolve. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, 85% of attacks on journalists go unpunished. UN raises alarm.
Still taking headlines and talking about the World Press Freedom Day. Kano reaffirms commitment to press freedom, urges responsible journalism. Now the details. The Kano state government has reaffirmed its commitment to press freedom and responsible journalism as it joined the global community to commemorate the 2026 World Press Freedom Day. In a statement on Sunday shared on Facebook and signed by the State Commissioner for Information and Internet Affairs, Ibrahim Waya, the government said the annual event observed every May 3rd is not just symbolic but a time for reflection and renewed commitment to media independence. It noted that this year's theme, Shaping a Future at Peace, underscores the role of the media in promoting unity, stability, and sustainable development. The government said it identified itself as a media-friendly administration under Governor Abba Yusuf, anchored on openness and engagement with journalists, protest. It added that the approach has been recognized by the Nigerian Union of Journalists as a journalist-friendly government. Reaffirming its stand, the government stated, "Our media policy shall always be guided by respect for press freedom, and it will not condone any form of intimidation or suppressing the professional conduct of the journalism practiced in the state." It said regular dialogue with media stakeholders has been institutionalized along deliberate effort to support digital journalism and engage practitioners in the evolving media space. The statement also stressed the need for professionalism and ethical responsibility, particularly in addressing challenges such as misinformation and fake news. For details of that story, see the Punch newspaper with this headline: Kano reaffirms commitment to press freedom, urges responsible journalism.
Yes, still on the Daily Post newspaper, Bender elders seek monarch's intervention over Orji Kalu Rap's deputy speaker's rift. And now to the details. Elders from different communities and Bender local government have called on traditional rulers to urgently intervene in the political tension involving their two sons, Senator Orji Uzo Kalu and Deputy Speaker House of Representatives Benjamin Kalu. The elders made the call when they visited Eze Anthony Okorochukwu of Bender Ancient Kingdom, Bender local government area, led by former chairman of the local government area, Emmanuel Onuchekwa. The elders urged the monarch to advise former Abia State Governor Orji Uzo Kalu to end his rift with Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu and tour the path of peace. According to them, the Deputy Speaker is not in any way against the ambition of Senator Kalu to contest for Senate in the 2027 election. A statement reads in our quote, "Ben is not stopping Senator Orji Uzo Kalu from contesting for Senate. They are contesting for two different positions. Why then should there be this level of hostility? We don't want any war between Igbere and Bender. We have had enough of this." The story aligns with your interest. It is on the Daily Post newspaper with this headline: Bender elders seek monarch's intervention over Orji Kalu Rap's deputy speaker's rift.
Now to the Daily Post newspaper, talking 2027. Coalition collapses as ADC presidential ticket split opposition leaders. Now the details. Ahead of the 2027 general elections, the hope of having a united opposition front to battle the ruling All Progressive Congress APC is suffering a major blow following the decision of a key leaders to abandon the coalition over a dispute regarding the presidential ticket. Daily Post report that the alliance formed under the African Democratic Congress ADC, aiming to challenge President Bola Tinubu's re-election bid, has collapsed. In March 2025, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former State President David Mark, former Governor of Kaduna State Malam Nasir El-Rufai, ex-Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi, Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State, and the former APC National Chairman Abdullahi Adamu formed a coalition with a plot to sack President Bola Tinubu in 2027. On July 3rd, the opposition leader, including Obi and other heavyweight politicians, formed opposition and ruling party, adopted ADC as a platform to contest the election. Former Minister of Interior Rauf Aregbesola, former Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami were also among the top members of the coalition, with former Governor of Kano State Rabiu Kwankwaso and his court-like supporters joining the movement on March 20, 2026 after dumping the New Nigerian People's Party NNPP. However, members of the coalition began to split recently following leadership dispute rocking the party and the quest for the party's presidential ticket. Nigerian Daily Post report the negotiation for the coalition's sole ticket broke down after weeks of deadlock between the camp of Atiku and Obi along other contenders jottering for the national top job. For details of that story, See the Daily Post newspaper with this headline. Coalition collapse as ADC presidential ticket split opposition leaders.
Still on the Daily Post, Nigerian consulate warns citizens ahead of South Africa anti-foreigner protest. And now to the details. The Consulate General of Nigeria in Johannesburg has issued a safety advisory to Nigerian nationals in South Africa ahead of planned nationwide anti-foreigner protest scheduled on the 4th of May 2026. The advisory, released recently and signed by the Consul General Ambassador Ninikangwa Oke-Uche, warned citizens to remain alert following reports of coordinated demonstration across all 9 provinces of South Africa. According to the mission, it received intelligence that anti-foreigner groups have been mobilizing residents through circulated messages calling for a nationwide shutdown aimed at pressuring authorities to take action against foreign nationals. The organizers are reportedly alleging that foreigners benefit disproportionately from South Africans' resources and are demanding the removal of both documented and undocumented migrants. The group are also planning street marches instead intended to push for the exit of foreign nationals from the country, while protesters are expected across multiple regions. The consulate noted that specific assembly points have not been confirmed in most cities. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Nigeria Consulate warns citizens ahead of South Africa anti-foreigner protest.
Yes, so on the pages of Daily Post this morning, where we have La Sepa seals over 40 facilities for noise pollution violation in Lagos. Now the details. Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, La Sepa, has shut down more than 40 facilities across Lagos State for breaching established noise pollution regulations. The general manager of the agency, Babatunde Ajayi, made this known over the weekend during an inter-district essay competition organized for selected secondary schools in Lagos. Ajayi said the enforcement exercise is part of the ongoing effort to reduce excessive noise levels across the state, adding that the crackdown has covered religion centers, entertainment, sports, event venue and other major contributors of noise pollution. He explained that the noise control enforcement has been sustained over time as part of the agency's routine regulatory operations. According to him, over 40 facilities were sealed within a space of a week, stressing that such monitoring and enforcement activities has become continuous. He, however, expressed concern that some operators still flout environmental rules even after being penalized, warning that persistent offenders risk permanent closure. Ajayi also outlined the approved permissible noise level across different categories of land use in the state. He stated that the educational environment has the lowest threshold of about 35, while residence area are permitted to go up to 65 during the day and 55 at night. For details of that story, see the Daily Post newspaper with this headline. La Sepa seals over 40 facilities for noise pollution violation in Lagos.
Finally, on the Daily Post newspaper on my end, bandits kill 11 in attack on Castana community. And now to the details. No fewer than 11 people have been killed in a reprisal attack by suspected bandits in Kankia local government area of Castana State. The Castana State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Dr. Nasir Muhazu, confirmed the incident in a statement issued recently, saying the violence followed a failed initial attack by the armed group. According to him, intelligence report indicated that a notorious bandit leader, Muhammadu Fulani, had mobilized fighters and was advancing towards strategic bridges in the area. A joint security team led by a divisional police officer in Kankia intercepted the group engaged engaging them in fierce gun battle. The statement further reads, and I quote, several bandits were neutralized during the operation, while 8 motorcycles and Rossud cattle were recovered. However, the attackers later regrouped and launched a fresh assault around midday on Gwagoro village in Gyaza Kunduru ward, where 11 civilians were killed in what authorities describe as a retaliatory attack. Describing the incident as a cowardly act of terror, the commissioner extended condolences to the families of the victims and commended security operatives for their efforts in thwarting the initial attack. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Bandits Kill 11 in Attack on Castina Community.
Now, on the pages of the Nation's newspaper this morning, talking xenophobia attack, 130 Nigerians applies for evacuation. Now, the details. President Bola Tinubu has directed the Nigerian mission in South Africa to closely monitor happenings as the protests against foreign nationals resumes in parts of the country today. The protest is expected to run till Friday. More than 130 Nigerians have registered to be evacuated back home following the last week protest march in Johannesburg, according to the latest update by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The figure may rise at the nation's length. The statement by the ministry, which are confirmed by presidential directive, read, another demonstration is planned for 4 to 8 May 2026. For details of that story, see the Nation's newspaper with this headline. Talking xenophobia attacks, 130 Nigerians apply for evacuation.
Yes, the program you're still on to is in the papers, coming to you from iPower 102.7 FM. Right now, we will take another short break. When we get back, we will open the phone lines for you to call in for comments and contribution. We will be right back. Yes, glad you're still there. The program is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. The time has come for you listeners out there to call in and make contributions to any of the news that piques your interest. And the number to call is 0816 552 4699. The numbers again, 0816 552 4699. And now back to the Tribune newspaper, talking strike. We stand with Sanu Nasu, says ASU. And now to the details. The Academic Staff Union of Universities has thrown its weight behind the Senior Staff Union of the Nigerian Universities and the Non-Academic Staff Union, NASU, whose members are currently on indefinite industrial action nationwide. SANU and NASU, under the aegis of Joint Action Committee, JAC, had declared indefinite strike on Friday the 1st of May, protesting the federal government's delay in signing a new agreement with them. The two unions, after a repeated ultimatum given to the federal government to finalize their long-time standing 2009 agreement renegotiation and come up with a new agreement, its immediate implementation accused the federal government of using delay tactics to, among others, punish members for rejecting the once controversial IPPIS payment platform Meanwhile, speaking at a monthly impact dialogue organized by the Education Writers Association of Nigeria, Evan held virtually as the president, Professor Christopher Piwuna, said the body's language of federal government delaying the signing of the new agreement with other unions in the university system called for serious concerns. He spoke on the theme of delayed salaries, federal government workers agreement, averting impending crisis in Nigerian university. The dialogue also featured the national president of SANU, Muhammad Ibrahim, and his vice in charge of the South Zone, Dr. Abdul Salam. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Tribune newspaper with the headline Strike. We stand with SANU and NASU says ASU.
Still on the pages of the Vanguard this morning, where we have a talk on a full shooting. PSC ratifies dismissal of alleged killer call and 4 others. Now the details. The Nigerian Police Commission, PSC, has ratified the dismissal of Assistant Superintendent of Police, ASP Nuhu Usman, and 4 other officers over their alleged involvement in the killing of Mr. Mene Ogidi, 28, in Efuru, Delta State on April 26, 2026. The force headquartered in a statement yesterday by the police public relations officer, DSP Anthony Placid, said the decision followed the conclusion of internal disciplinary proceedings and takes immediate effect. He noted that the case file has been brought forward to the office of the Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, for venting and prosecution, with the police pledging full cooperation to ensure justice is served. Placid stressed that no suspicion, however serious, justifies extrajudicial actions, noting that every suspect is entitled to due process. He also confirmed that the driver who delivered the parcel and 2 vigilante members linked to the incident remain at large, adding that tactical teams have been deployed to arrest them. The force PPRO assured the public that the force does not shield officers who violate the law and that the matter is being handled transparently in line with accountability and human rights standard. The police account of the incident stated that Ogidi had received a parcel from Yenagoa, Bayelsa State, which he later took to the motor park in Efuru for onward delivery to Sapele. The parcel was reportedly searched and found to contain a fabricated barrel pistol and 4 rounds of 9mm ammunition. According to the force, members of the public arrested him and alerted the police, after which ASP Nuhu Usman and his team arrived at the scene. The police alleged that instead of following due process, ASP Nuhu Usman shot and killed the already apprehended suspect. For details of that story, see the Vanguard newspaper with this headline: PSC ratifies a dismissal of alleged killer call for others.
Still on the Tribune newspaper, Nigerians groan as price of cooking gas surges to average 1,400 per kg. And now to the details. Nigerians, especially urban dwellers, have continued to groan as the price of liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, popularly known as cooking gas, surges to average 1,400 per kg from 1,000 Naira per kg in early March 2026. The increase represents 40% rise in price within 2 months, raising serious concerns among middle and low-income Nigerians. This is coming at a time the cost of petrol jumped between 1,345 Naira and 1,400 Naira in Lagos and Abuja, depending on the filling station and location. Also, the price of diesel jumped between 1,900 per litre and 2,000 Naira per litre. A survey by Newsman showed that a 6 kg cylinder of gas cost 8,400, while 12 kg refill in 16,800 naira in several locations. Besides the rise in cost, has significantly weakened people's purchasing power, forcing many households to cut back or switch to alternative energy sources such as firewood or kerosene. Also, there has been a surge in advertisement about smokeless cooking charcoal stoves, with most residents subscribing to it as an alternative to gas and vendors ready to deliver nationwide. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Tribune newspaper with the headline, Nigerians groan as price of cooking gas surges to average 1,400 per kg.
Yes, still taking headlines, and this is coming to you from the Sun newspaper, where we have please don't go to court. Obi tells supporters after joining NDC. Peter Obi, the former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, has urged members of the Nigerian Democratic Congress (NDC) to avoid court cases and internal dispute as the party prepares for 2027 general elections. Obi made the appeal on Sunday in Abuja after Ian Rabiu Kwankwanso, former governor of Kano State, formerly joined the NDC as its national secretariat. Their move comes after Obi exited the African Democratic Congress (ADC), while Kwankwanso has been in consultation with stakeholders within the NDC ahead of the next election cycle. Obi warned that resorting to litigation would weaken efforts to build a stable political platform capable of driving national change. He stressed that internal disputes must be resolved within the party structure if it hopes to remain focused on political objectives. Obi also outlined the type of society the party hopes to build, anchored on fairness and equal opportunity for all citizens. For details of that story, see the Sun newspaper with this headline, please don't go to court. Obi tells supporters after joining NDC.
And now quickly to the Guardian newspaper. Atiku slams federal government over declining foreign reserve despite 5 trillion naira oil windfall. And now to the details. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has warned the federal government of a poor economic management, citing the drop in external reserves despite rising oil earnings. Also, Nigerian external reserve fell to $48.45 billion as of the 24th of April from $48.72 billion recorded in the previous weeks, representing a decline of about $1.57 billion since the 11th of March. Atiku's warning came amid reports of a 5 trillion naira oil windfall within the same period. In a statement by Senior Special Assistant in Public Communication, Frank Shaibu, the former VP said the development showed a troubling trend. The African Democratic Congress ADC chieftain said the persistent depletion of reserves suggested that the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, was interjecting liquidity to support the naira, describing the approach as unsustainable. He further stated, and I quote, on one hand, the national external reserves have declined to $48.45 billion, with a cumulative depletion of about $1.57 billion since the 11th of March. On the other hand, Nigeria has reportedly earned 5 trillion naira from oil windfall within the same period. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Guardian newspaper with the headline, Atiku slams federal government over declining foreign reserve despite 5 trillion naira oil windfall.
We would go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue the rest of the stories for today. Yes, glad to have you back. The program is still in the papers on your darling station, iPower 102.7 FM. And of course, this is coming to you from the Sun newspaper, and it says LCCI urges businesses to maximize AI adoption. Now, the details. The Lagos State Chamber of Commerce and Industry (LCCI) has called on all entrepreneurs and businesses to convert technological advancements, particularly artificial intelligence (AI), into measurable economic benefits. This charge was delivered at the LCCI AI Summit themed Adopting AI for Your Business, Nigerian Realities and Case Studies, organized by the Chamber ICT Group and Young Business Leader Group. Speaking at the event, LCCI President Leye Kokuluyi described AI as a transformative general-purpose technology, reshaping productivity, competitiveness, and global market structures. It stressed that Nigeria has strong opportunity to harness AI to redefine its economic future if decisive action is taken. He noted that about 88% of Nigerian adults have interacted with AI tools, significantly above the global average of 62%. However, only about one-third of businesses have achieved advanced enterprise-level deployment, highlighting a gap between experimentation and full-scale adoption. He added that the Nigerian AI market has projected to exceed $430 billion by 2026, driven by growth in fintech, logistics, and digital service, making AI a core economic driver rather than just a tool. According to him, AI is already delivering results across sectors, enhancing fraud detection and credit analysis in finance, improving demand forecasting in retail, supporting yield optimization in agriculture, and boosting efficiency in logistics. In some cases, it has achieved up to 50% improvement in operational efficiency. For details of that story, see the Sun newspaper with this headline: LCCI urges businesses to maximize AI adoption.
Yes, and still on the Guardian newspaper, Tinubu leaves for France, kicks off three-nation diplomatic tour. And now to the details. President Bola Tinubu has departed Nigeria for France, beginning a three-nation official visit that will also take him to Kenya and Rwanda. The presidential aircraft took off from the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja, marking the start of a diplomatic tour aimed at strengthening economic partnership and attracting foreign investment. Video footage for the departure ceremony showed the president arriving at the airport in a black SUV, where he was greeted on the red carpet by senior government officials. He shook hands with dignitaries before proceeding towards the waiting Nigerian Air Force aircraft. As President Tinubu boarded the plane via red-carpeted stairs, members of the armed forces in camouflage and formal uniforms saluted while the aircraft prepared for takeoff. The trip, scheduled from Saturday, will see the president engage in high-level discussions in France before proceeding to Nairobi, Kenya, for the African-France Summit co-chaired by President Emmanuel Macron and William Ruto. According to the presidency, Tinubu's first stop is France, after which he will travel to Nairobi to participate in the African-France Summit scheduled for the 11th and the 12th of May. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Guardian newspaper with the headline: Tinubu leaves for France, kicks off three-nation diplomatic tour.
Yes, and that brings us to the end of today's edition of In the Papers. We have looked at the headlines, unpacked the stories, and of course shared insights and issues that matters to all of us. Remember, the news does not just inform, it helps us think, question, and engage better with the world around us. My name is Florence Ibarema, and with me on this drive was
Inioluwa Adekoya.
Thank you for staying with us, and we implore you to please keep it locked here because we have endless entertaining, informative, and educative programs for your listening pleasure. Do have a beautiful morning.
Good morning.